Hello again, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of the Kipper Spectre.
Let's do that again.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Kipper Perspective College Football Podcast. Kip Kiefer with you as per usual, along with Alec Etheridge, Clayton Kiefer, assembled once again to bring you everything that's happening around the college football world. And who knows what other subjects might emerge as we proceed here on another broadcast. Going to be a great week. Lots to talk about from the previous week, some big results, things maybe starting to shape up a little bit. Guys, we're getting to that halfway point of the season where now all of the mystery, I guess, is been pretty much unveiled for what most of these teams have. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm already tired in just a couple of days of listening to the chatter of, well, if this team runs the table and this team does this and a meteor hits that stadium, then you're going to have this team in the Final Four. I mean, let's just play out the games. It's all going to take care of itself pretty much. At least that's my opinion. Where are you guys right now mentally here at the halfway mark?
On the way here this afternoon, we both were thinking the exact same thing you mentioned. If this team wins that game and this team wins the other game, we were trying to figure out how each team would make it to the SEC championship and the NCAA playoff. So you don't like us very much right now, Kip.
You guys are guilty of the.
We are very guilty of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably let's be honest here. There's probably 12 to 15 teams maybe still in contention for title consideration if everything played out right. Maybe only 6 or 8 really legitimate ones. But so many of those teams will play each other. It all kind of sorts itself out. So why the annual pulling your hair out of speculation of this happens? Is that part of the fun, Clay?
I guess. I don't know.
We're going to have another energetic Clayton week. I can see it coming.
He's ready for a nap.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I think it's human nature. I don't really know. It's not necessarily fun. You even just used the term like pulling your hair out. So, that's not fun. But it's just, this doesn't make
especially for me, because I don't have enough
this
left
doesn't make
to
any
spare.
sense, and I was going to say it's just something you have to do. That doesn't make any sense. And it's not human nature either to pull your hair out. But
no,
I don't know. I don't know why I do it, but I guess you can use the word fun to speculate. It's more just, I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know. It's just, you have to.
I think it's part of the fun of college football.
But I don't think college football is fun anymore.
No, you don't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's
right.
Crazy. But I mean, I think if your team loses a game, your chances get slimmer and slimmer, and especially if you lose another game. So I think each week, fans try to think, can we win this game? Can we run the table? Can we do this to get where we need to be? And I think that's part of the excitement of college football, unlike the NFL, where you can lose a few games throughout the season.
Yeah, Kip, it's an optimism thing, you negative shit.
Oh, okay.
Ouch. We got Grumpy Cat in studio today.
I stand corrected. Okay, I will say this definitively.
Well, I just went from a negative vibe, and then Alec made it sound like, oh, well, when you lose a game, you just want to look forward, and, you just want to think about how you're going to win.
That was very cheerful.
Sunshine and daisies.
So instead of making fun of Alec, I just shot it at Kip for some reason. I don't know. I'm in a weird mood.
Well, that's okay. That makes for better broadcasting. But I will say this. I think definitively we can say in the SEC, if you're a Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Missouri, or South Carolina fan, don't speculate. You're out of it. You're dead in the water.
I think we've already talked about this before the show, too, this week with Vanderbilt and Missouri facing off against each other. That's got to be one of the worst games I've ever heard of in my life. And I don't know what TV station that's on, but I can't imagine it getting very good ratings.
If you go to Nashville this weekend and stand outside the stadium, how much money do you suppose people will give you to take one of their tickets? That could be a real money-making venture. Yeah, here, take my tickets on the 50, and here's $25. Thanks.
I would hope for box seats for free.
I was gonna say, I was trying to think how much someone would have to pay me.
I
go to that
I mean,
game.
I'd hope I'd be paid to go coach the team or something. At least have some fun with the day.
All right, if the Vanderbilt athletic director called you right now and said, "Hey, come up to the game this weekend. We got some hot country music star girls. They're going to be in a private suite and
hell yeah,
complete buffet and an open bar."
If it was a private suite with free food and free drinks and stuff, and I guess you can throw in the country music girls as well, I would go for a free box. And
Clayton
free
would
food.
definitely go. He had an interesting dream a few weeks ago that described this perfect scenario. Do you recall? You don't recall that?
I have no idea.
He's looking at me like I'm crazy.
I have no idea.
It was the morning of the, I want to say it was the Alabama Ole Miss game or something, and I woke up and I walked into the living room, and you just went on a rant about some crazy dream where we were at a box seating that was just like a legit wooden box in like Jordan-Hare Stadium. So it was at Auburn Stadium.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, it was like
it wasn't a skybox; it was a wooden box.
No, it
A
wasn't.
wooden
Yeah, it was
box.
more like a high school press box, but it was like right next to the field. And yeah, we were at Jordan-Hare. I don't remember why or what. I do.
And apparently the stadium was like on water, and we had to go to a houseboat. This
that-
was the crazy. I'm telling you, there's a reason I brought it up. It's
kind
the
of a
craziest
Noah's Ark
story-
thing.
Craziest story I've ever heard in my
Wow.
life.
Look, yeah, it was weird. I don't remember the specifics. It would have been interesting, but talking about dreams is weird because whenever I talk about dreams, unless it's somebody that like I know, like Alec or whatever, Kip or Nick or whatever, but I can talk to them. But people usually think it's like this is definitely made up. He didn't
I
dream
said that
this.
like 10 times.
He didn't dream this, but yeah, it was something strange. And I remember I was really mad at the end. He was talking about the water thing because like I wanted to leave, but if we left, we had to like go and get on a boat or something.
no, and you were-
because the stadium was like in water, and I was really I don't know. It was
The
weird.
thing that reminded me of it was the hot dancers.
hot girls. There were
'cause
some
you
girls
You were mad
there.
because you were supposed to be getting a girl's phone number, one of the hot dancers that was performing at halftime or something.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was all over the place. It had nothing to do with football except for the fact that we were like at a football game, which then quickly changed. I don't know. It's some weird stuff.
Maybe psychologically, this was part of Clayton's college football is no fun.
It's just I'm just in a bad mood again because just thinking that it's going to be a home game again.
He
this
has
week.
to go watch a football game, ladies and gentlemen. He has to be in the stadium for the Alabama-Tennessee game.
Saturday was so lovely. It was awesome. I just got to relax, watch a bunch of games, be on my computer at the same time. I mean, multi-screen watching. If I'm at the game, I have to basically surrender my entire Saturday, and it sucks.
And what time is the Alabama-Tennessee kickoff?
That's what makes it miserable.
Oh, that's awful,
CBS
too.
2:30.
Oh, it's a CBS
Yeah.
game, so that's a 4.5-hour extravaganza.
Yeah.
And they already have blocked off my parking spots to accommodate for
to
the
go to
CBS
class on
truck.
Thursdays.
But luckily, I don't have class on Thursday this week, so that's good. That was some mumbling, by the way.
Well, let's segue from the dream world to reality. Yesterday, a big topic on the Feinbaum show was: has the Tennessee-Alabama game completely lost its luster to this generation that you guys are so prominently a part of? Tennessee-Alabama, for old people that were Alabama-Tennessee fans, was the ultimate game. This was the game every year. This was like the most important pivotal game in the SEC. What is your guys' take? Because Tennessee's been irrelevant for most of your fandom. Is there anything left of this rivalry?
Well, to me, it's definitely lost its luster. But then again, so
Every
has the
game
rest
is.
of college football. Every game has lost its luster. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's if you asked people on campus, unfortunately, I did not. For everybody, I guess I should have got that out of the way. No Clay on the street this week. But if you ask people on campus, I think they would be like, "Oh yeah, it's a huge game. I hate Tennessee. I really want them to win." Blah blah blah. I really want Alabama to win, but I don't think that's in reality. I don't think that's the case. I think that people are much more geared up for Auburn and much more geared up for the LSU game than they are the Tennessee game. But then again, the rivalry will be renewed as soon as Tennessee can beat Alabama, and as soon as it becomes an actual game again. The hate and the craziness it will come back. Hopefully not anytime in the near future, because Tennessee has to make it a game in order for this rivalry to come back.
Yeah, I agree. I think that LSU and Auburn especially have overtaken the Tennessee game, but I still think, like, if you were to ask fans about this game, they would still say it's a big game, and it's probably their third biggest game every year. but it has lost a lot of the luster because used to it was Tennessee's going for the SEC East championship and Alabama's going for the SEC West championship. Both teams were the best team in their division, so the winner of that game had the upper hand of winning their division and all that. And it really said who was the best team in the SEC. I would say as recently as 7 or 8 years ago. But now it's gotten to where Tennessee just hasn't been able to keep it close, especially in Bryant-Denny. So I think it's lost a little bit of the luster, but it's still probably, I would say, according to fans, their third biggest game of the season that they look forward to.
Well, and I got a theory, too. I mean, the division play in the SEC didn't come into place until, just recent years in your guys' time. Before that, when all the teams were just in the league, I mean, the fact that Tennessee and Alabama got separated into different divisions when that was the game has to be a factor, too, that it's, it's our traditional opponent. I don't think the Georgia-Auburn game is as big a deal as it used to be, and maybe for the same reason. Georgia and Auburn are traditional opponents that play every year out of division. Every team has their one team, and of course there's some ridiculous ones. I think... I guess Texas A&M and Missouri will always be opponents now. Of course, that is appropriate because they came out of the Big 12, but Mississippi State's is like Vanderbilt. I mean, there's some pretty stupid ones, but I think the division setup is another thing that pours some rain on that parade. And the other thing too was Alabama now's won 9 in a row, and before that I think Tennessee won 7 out of 8 or 6 out of 8 or something like that when they had their really good teams, including the team that won the national championship the year after Peyton Manning left. Alabama was down in their funk with David Dubose followed by Mike Shula. So we just haven't had a golden era in the last 12 or 15 years in Tennessee, Alabama. But this is probably the best Tennessee team to come into Tuscaloosa in quite a while. So people that are taking this game lightly, I think maybe underestimated it a little bit.
Yeah, I actually, on the way here today, I was saying that I'm probably more nervous for Alabama in this game against Tennessee than I am against them facing LSU, even though both teams are very similar because they like to run the ball a lot. But especially if you're an Alabama player or coach, which they've all seemed very excited in their press conferences saying that they look forward to this game every year and it's a big matchup. But if you're an Alabama player or coach, you can't take this lightly at all because Tennessee has played some good teams and they've taken leads in those games, thinking about Georgia and Florida and Oklahoma, and they've somewhat choked it away except for the Georgia game because they played from behind. But I think that it's key for Alabama to be focused and come in ready to play on Saturday.
So here's hoping that Tennessee gets up early.
Yep.
But hey, you asked about our generation specifically. Well, this guy was from our generation.
I was hoping you were going to play it.
Yeah, I think we played it last year, but
right,
whatever.
Just say what you've been saying, man. Why do you hate Tennessee?
Man, I hate Tennessee because, first of all, it's Tennessee. And I just hate them because they low down, they dirty, they some snitches. And I hate Philip Fulmer. I hate their colors. I'm not a dog person. I just hate Tennessee, man. And I hate Neyland Stadium. It looks like a garbage truck worker convention. And I hate all their quarterbacks. I hate Tennessee, man.
Describe what you feel about their colors too.
It reminds me, and it's not that orange that you can stand. See, I hate Tennessee more than I hate Auburn. I just dislike Auburn. I hate Tennessee. See, Tennessee's colors is that throw-up orange. It's not that orange that you can sit with. It's that puke inside of a pumpkin orange. And I don't like pumpkins. So I really don't like Tennessee, man. I can't stress that enough, man. And they losers. They sore losers because they're not Alabama, and I hate Tennessee, man.
That was beautiful, man. Probably the best interview I've done all year. Thank you, man.
You gotta love it. That's classic.
That was an Alabama student now 7 years ago, but I was thinking, man, that was a long time ago. I was like, well, wait a minute. I was almost. I mean,
was that Mount Cody year, the blocked field goal?
Yeah, this was the year before.
Well, 2009 was the Cody blocked field goals, and that was Lane Kiffin's Tennessee team that came in as a huge underdog and almost ruined the national championship run for Alabama. So I still think this is a tough game. Tennessee has had success when Josh Dobbs has been effective running the football. and they're not going to be able to throw the ball down the field necessarily because that's surely not their personality. Their receiving core is pretty bad, but Alabama's going to have to contain Dobbs or they can do some damage. I mean, everybody's so Florida obsessed. People forget with 5:50 left in that game, it was 27-14 Tennessee. The vaunted Florida defense, it was getting beat at home, and Josh Dobbs had about 100 yards rushing. So, and of course, he also had a career game against Georgia running wild, and they couldn't stop him after they did a pretty good job with their running backs. But so I think it's a game that Alabama doesn't need to be taken lightly, and the fact that there is a bye in between the LSU game probably serves them well because they can pretty much blow this out. And I'd be surprised if they come out flat, but they better not because Tennessee is still a pretty talented team that a lot of people pick to win the East.
Yeah, I'll go into it more when we make the picks in a little while, but Tennessee is not, like you said, they're not a team you can take lightly because they have top recruiting classes over the last couple of years. They were still a young team at the beginning of this year when they were blowing those leads, and I think they've grown up each and every week. The thing that has to concern you about Tennessee coming in to try to win this game on the road is that they really rely a lot on Joshua Dobbs running the ball and Alvin Kamara running the ball and Jalen Hurd running the ball. So that's a lot of running, and it's. I don't think that they're going to be able to do that.
Not
well.
a strength against Alabama.
When you're going up against the Alabama front seven, especially Tennessee's got some problems on the offensive line right now. I know against Georgia they started the game with one offensive lineman down, and then two more got hurt during the game. So they had to start two freshmen that game, and they might be starting them again this Saturday, which could bode huge for the Alabama defense trying to get pressure on Dobbs in the backfield.
Talk about Clate impressions. Texas A&M once again hailed as a contender, a top 10 team. Alabama kind of exposed them. Were you pleased overall with the Alabama effort? I mean, 3 pick sixes. I heard some Texas A&M jabroni pointing out yesterday, well, you take those away and it's basically a tie game. But I never got the feeling watching that game, and I'm interested to hear your guys' impressions. I never got the feeling watching that game that Alabama was ever in danger of getting beat.
Well, I got a little mad at one point. I just know and I was even telling Alec this, I don't even remember the damn game at this point. All I remember really is that our defense played really well. I was mad because they let Texas A&M back in the game. It was 21-6 or whatever, and when they let them back into the game, I just get these flashbacks of the 2010 Auburn game or just a bunch of cheese.
Yeah, they let them get within 28-20.
So I was not happy at that point, but no, I don't know. I felt like also Alabama had really given them some of those scores, and also the field goal kicking cheese. It's so nice to have a good field goal kicker, because I don't know, but the pick sixes though, I mean, if anything, that should just kind of show that I don't consider those as much cheese as some other things like I read in the Auburn cheese section. And maybe it's just because I'm a biased Alabama fan. I don't know. Whatever. Call me that if you want. Probably true. But if anything, that should just make Texas A&M look worse, if you ask me. So I don't know. I thought Alabama was clearly the better team here. The fact that Texas A&M made a game is what made me upset because through the first half, I thought Alabama was twice as good as Texas A&M. Their defense was playing incredible. The secondary was playing great, obviously with getting interceptions. I read through the texts again to see why I was mad earlier, and I said Cyrus Jones sucks. So apparently he did something that pissed me off. I don't remember what it was. But secondary was awesome. Front seven was awesome. Reggie Ragland is a monster. And then the offense looked good too. I mean, because Texas A&M's defense not very good. Derrick Henry was a beast. Jake Coker was a beast. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how Alabama played, and I think Tennessee's going to be in trouble this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same boat. I think that this might have been the best Alabama performance on both sides of the ball in the last 3 years, maybe. This reminds me of a national championship type team, and I don't know what happened going in a few weeks ago, but somehow Lane Kiffin has finally opened his eyes and realized that if you just pound the ball, you're going to win ball games. Because Derrick Henry 36 times for I want to say 32 times for 236 yards. That's just the recipe for winning a football game. You exhaust the defense. Texas A&M's rushing defense was absolutely terrible, and they went in and did what they needed to do. And I think that not only was it Derrick Henry that played amazing, but I was very impressed with Jake Coker. Not necessarily his throwing game, but his decision-making. He stood in the pocket, and he would take a big hit to complete a pass, or he would roll out, and he would run the ball, and he would lower his head, and he would show his toughness to his teammates by running over people. And I think he gained a lot of respect. His teammates have been giving him nicknames for the last couple of weeks because of what he's been doing with his legs and stuff like that. So I think that the offensive side of the ball is really turning around, and the defensive side of the ball, that I am so happy, you guys, because the secondary finally showed up and played a football game. 4 interceptions.
Of course, as after Case said, they're
I knew that was going to happen.
Oh, yeah, I kind of did too. I was expecting it like, okay, well, Case said they're good, so obviously they are good.
But
I guess I'm full of shit.
And another thing that I've been saying for the past 2 years on the show is sacks. 6 sacks Saturday. That is huge. We haven't done that in forever. If you're getting pressure on the quarterback and they already can't run the ball, that's huge.
Well, that's what makes the secondary shine. Plus, I told you guys a little while ago off the air, I think in the last 3 weeks, the emergence of Ridley, the wide receiver, and Kirkpatrick in the defensive backfield. Fitzpatrick, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
These are 2 5-star recruits who have just really exploded on the scene in these last couple of games, and that transforms what was a very good Alabama team into one that's a contender for the championship with all the other pieces they have. Before we transition to LSU Florida, just kind of a quick thought though. We saw what happened to Georgia's offense with the Nick Chubb being out. Everybody said, they'll be fine. Sonny Michel's just as good. Not quite. Sonny Michel's a good change-up back, but Nick Chubb was the franchise. What happens to Alabama or LSU if they lose a Derrick Henry or a Leonard Fournette? It looks to me like those guys may be as critical to those teams as Chubb was to Georgia.
I mean, goodness, I thought that. I mean, I really like Kenyon Drake this year. I mean, I still like him. He's still a beast and everything, I guess, but he didn't look good in this game. If you would have asked me this like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have said that's going to hurt us a lot. I would have definitely been clear about that. But I would have been confident that Drake would be able to carry the ball and be able to, and we're deep at running back. We don't even know these guys that are behind Kenyon Drake now, really. But in a couple of years, I bet we'll know who they are. I would have been confident. Now, I don't know, not so much. I was not really impressed with how Drake's played the last couple of weeks, and I would be pretty upset if Derrick Henry got hurt. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, if Derrick Henry or Leonard Fournette gets hurt, both teams are going to struggle.
Big
and
LSU,
time.
LSU
won't win. LSU might not win a game.
I didn't even need to mention them because if Fournette gets hurt, they're totally screwed.
He's their whole team.
And both these guys are being leaned on so heavily now that the chances are that one of them's going to get nicked up before the end of the road here. I mean, that was one of my impressions from Saturday. I mean, people are saying, Harris really had a big game for LSU. Well, when you can't stop a guy running for almost 200 yards again, it's going to open up
wide open throwing lanes.
Absolutely. And the same is true for Alabama. Coker's effectiveness of getting the ball out to Ridley and Mulaney, certainly set up by Derrick Henry, because like you said, Alec, they finally have realized that this guy's a weapon. We just need to give him the ball. They had a reluctance to doing that earlier, and maybe it was to try to keep him fresher for these big games. But gosh, it just seems to me like if one of those guys goes down, it's going to be catastrophic, just like it looks like it's going to be for Georgia.
Well, I think that if Henry goes down, Alabama has a much better chance to still win the rest of their games. One, because their defense is very good.
So good, yeah.
And two, I think Jake Coker's coming along. I think he's getting better and better. And like you mentioned, he's got receivers to throw to now with Ridley and Mulaney. And I think that they still at least have somebody with a little bit of experience. He's not a big power back, but Kenyon Drake has the experience, and he can somehow get in space and do something. And then another guy is Bo Scarborough, who's been hurt all year, but he finally came back in the Georgia game and played a couple of snaps, and he's a big kind of guy like Derrick Henry. So if that were to happen, I think Alabama has the better chance to at least still win their football games, but it's going to be tough sledding for either of those teams if that happens.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake is a proven and capable back. There's no doubt about it, but this year he has not been great. Gary and Vern, who, take whatever they say with a grain of salt. they say that, there's just something weird about Kenyon Drake since he's got hurt. He just hasn't been as explosive. Maybe he's running timid. Maybe he doesn't want to make big cuts. Who knows? But they think there's something wrong. And, I kind of agree because he's not the same guy. But if the load was put on him, or maybe he's just had a couple bad weeks, it is possible that he could still be, a big-time back. Or it's possible even, he might get, 10 carries this week and be a beast. He might take one, 70 yards because he's so fast. You never know. So, I don't know. I agree with Alec. I think that Alabama is in a much better position. Say Fournette and Henry both get hurt this week. I think Alabama's in a better position than LSU.
Oh, yeah, much better. And I think that, like you said, Henry can still get in space and has the speed. Drake. So if they could throw like the bubble screens or something to just get him in space, he doesn't have to be an every down back. Still, you have other running backs behind him that can still come in and be a power back. They're just young. But Alabama's definitely in a better position.
Well, quickly, looking back at last week, any thoughts on the LSU-Florida game? What were your impressions?
To be honest, I was impressed with Florida. I thought that they were totally out of this game, and then, they scored some touchdowns. They were very, very resilient, yeah. Is what the word I used multiple times. I liked Florida. I picked them. And I think that they're a good team, but I think I was even more impressed with them this week than I have been in previous weeks. I think they're a little more legit even than I thought they were. And I know Case and Kip sort of disagree that the quarterback doesn't matter as much, but I do think it sucks that they lost Will Grier because Trayon Harris is not very good. But
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think I was more impressed with Florida in this game than I was LSU. I thought it was going to be a close game. I thought Florida would keep it close. There were a lot more points scored than I thought there would be. But for Florida to come in with such a tough week, losing their starting quarterback and have to go to another guy, and they looked really good. Their run game was bad, though. That's what concerns me with Florida going forward. They couldn't run the ball at all on Saturday. But for them to go into Death Valley and do that against an LSU team and keep it at a 7-point game, that's pretty impressive. So going forward, I think they're the team to beat in the SEC East.
Well, one thing that's got to concern you if you're an LSU fan, this is a school that, just like Alabama, we were talking about how many linebackers from Alabama are in the NFL. There's just as many defensive backs from LSU, and this team looks to me like their secondary is pretty sketchy. They struggled at Syracuse with a fifth-string quarterback who threw some touchdown pass against them. Trayon Harris had some success through the air, which is not a very good indicator of competence. LSU, too, the other thing, coming to Tuscaloosa in a couple of weeks, this is a team that had one of their road games changed to a home game. This is a team that's only been on the road twice. They went to Mississippi State and barely hung on to win that game, and went to Syracuse, who stinks, and only won 34-24 and did not look very impressive at all. LSU, to me, while a lot of people are still saying they're a playoff contender and they're a top 4 team, they look kind of suspect to me.
Well, the thing that I think is interesting is now how you mentioned it, I think whenever it was 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. But you was like, if you're a West team, if you're a fan of a West team, you got to think it's some cheese that they get an extra home game, which I saw where you're coming with that. I told you, it didn't really matter to me. But maybe actually now it's like a blessing in disguise. You just mentioned that now they're not ready for a road game. They've only had 2 of them, and they have not been real road tests, whereas the Alabama game certainly will be. So that's interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I've said all year that Ole Miss and LSU are completely overrated. People are just putting them up on this pedestal, and LSU is so one-dimensional. I still think that even with Brandon Harris having a better game on Saturday, I still think that they're way too one-dimensional, and it's going to be tough for them to go and beat an Alabama on the road. Because, like you said, if Leonard Fournette gets hurt, they're done. So I don't know. I just don't think LSU's that good of a football team. I think they're the worst undefeated team right now in college football.
And isn't that going to be intriguing? And here I'm talking about better not look past the Tennessee game. We're talking about Alabama LSU, but isn't it going to be intriguing to see how Fournette performs against that front seven? of Alabama that looks like, and so far, no one's had any success on the ground. We don't need to talk very long about the bad high school game that was played in Athens on Saturday night.
Just before,
go ahead.
Just before you go, I was just going to say, if Leonard Fournette runs for 200 yards against Alabama, I'll concede he's the best running back in SEC history.
Maybe of all time.
Probably college football
ever.
history.
Yeah, that would be insane. I want to look this. I'll look it up after the show and talk about it before the Alabama LSU game. But I want to see the statistics on the defenses that he's faced. Because, like you said, the Alabama defense, they're not really giving. They're giving up like 60 yards a game rushing. So that's gonna be a tall task. I don't think he's played anybody with a good enough defense with a lot of NFL talent on it. So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting. I was going to say the Georgia-Missouri game was a real cliffhanger.
Ugh. At least we got it right, Kip.
I said
we
earlier,
finally got a Mizzou game right.
9-6. Clayton was.
Well, of course, Missouri and Kentucky, both of them just screwed them. If I pick them, it's going the opposite no matter who I pick because those teams are just so jabroni. But I picked Georgia as a 16-point favorite, and there was not even 16 points scored in
the
that
entire game.
Great.
What a miserable performance. It'll be interesting to see with 2 weeks how Georgia can retweak their offense absent Nick Chubb. I would not even be shocked if Bryce Ramsey's a starting quarterback in Jacksonville, because Grayson Lambert just is garbage. He's just not very good. If he has all day to throw in a clean pocket, he's fine. But he has really bad happy feet now, and just is not the answer at quarterback. If Georgia has any hopes of still winning the East, and they've got the opportunity, despite the 2 weeks with hellish performances against Alabama and the giveaway against Tennessee. If they beat Florida, they're basically the Eastern champion, which is assuming that Alabama takes care of business against the Vols on Saturday. Other games, Clay touched on it. Kentucky keeps their record perfect. If Clay picks Kentucky, they've never won a game. That record is still intact. They lose to Auburn. Auburn fans that was encouraging. We won a game.
Their big thing was they're 2-0 in this month now. In the month of October, they are now 2-0.
Oh, that's good. They beat
They
San
started
Jose
a new
and
season.
Kentucky. Outstanding. They go to Arkansas this week. Arkansas still has to have a terrible bad taste in their mouth from their last Fayetteville appearance where they lost to Texas Tech. We'll touch on that game in the picks, but anyway, I think the week went pretty well according to form in the SEC, and this week's going to be interesting. So, unless you guys have some more thoughts on the previous weeks, we can move on to the pick segment.
Ole Miss sucks.
Yeah, that was. Let's talk about that.
We didn't talk about that at all, even though I didn't watch it. So oops.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick before we make the segue. The University of Memphis has won 13 straight football games. I mean, it's really remarkable, and it's not getting very much national attention. Clay's team, Bowling Green, lost a 44-41 heartbreaker to Memphis.
I think it was 50, but sure. No,
I thought it was 44-41. Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought it was 44 too.
Then
I'm not 100%.
I now I have to go look it up. I thought it was 50, whatever to 50, whatever.
Or whatever it was.
44-41.
I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me ever.
That's a pretty good loss now for Bowling Green. We got to get our Max segment in here, but Memphis has really been amazing. And they got down 14-0 in the first 5 minutes of that game against Ole Miss, and then outscored them 37-10 the rest of the way. I mean, that's just utter domination over the Rebels, who we have all said from even after the Alabama game when they rocketed to number 3 in the polls in this snapshot society. This was a flawed team that can't run the ball and still has big offensive questions, and boy, they've really come back to earth with a thud. What an interesting game they have coming up this week. They and Texas A&M in a survival bowl game over in Oxford, and we'll talk about that when we get to the pick segment. But, I mean, what do you guys think about, the job that Justin Fuentes has done with a program that's always been total crap in Memphis, a commuter school, getting some players to come there and perform at that high level. They've won 13 in a row. I don't know if there's a more remarkable story in college football right now than Memphis's ascension and Ole Miss, the number 3 team in the country 2 weeks ago's total collapse.
Well, I'm really disappointed that you had to make the question asking about Memphis, because I thought you were going to ask about Ole Miss, and I was just going to transition being like, nobody cares about that. We're going to talk about Bowling Green. But unfortunately, the Memphis thing is actually amazing. I mean, good for that dude. He's going to get a big pay raise wherever he ends up. So good for him, and good luck to him, I guess. Unless he goes to South Carolina, then he can go screw himself. Whatever. I wish him all the negatives in the world. I don't know why I hate South Carolina now all of a sudden, but I just don't like them. So yeah, I don't know. Ole Miss definitely jabroni. I kept thinking this. I thought they were terrible. I said they sucked after the Alabama game, but I kept thinking they're still, they're okay. They're still, they still got a good defense and blah blah blah, and they're going to be okay. And I picked them a couple times, and my goodness, have I been wrong about that team? I was right, and then I was wrong. They suck. They're terrible.
Yeah, I've said all year, even after the Alabama win, that they are not a good football team. They just haven't, week in and week out, looked like a team that's good. And, I mean, this Paxton Lynch guy for Memphis, the quarterback, has to be thanking them big time because his NFL draft grade just went up tremendously. When the guy's 6'7" and like 250 pounds, and he threw for almost 400 yards on Saturday. So I think that was a big thing, a big reason. And that just showed that this so-called Ole Miss defense, the Land Sharks that were supposed to be so great this year with all their high recruits and everything, is just not very good. That was a bad performance by them. And Chad Kelly continues. Laquan Treadwell's the only bright spot for Ole Miss, but Chad Kelly continues to do the same stuff. And it's just Ole Miss just isn't that good right now, which is not good for Hugh Freeze because he should have the team right now, and he doesn't.
Well, I mean, and Clay did all the graphic work and set it up. I did a preseason SEC preview, and I was looking like kind of an idiot when Ole Miss was the number 3 team in the country. And in my SEC preseason preview in the West Division, I picked Ole Miss 7th, last.
Oh, man. Wow.
I had them behind Mississippi State, and all of a sudden they're the number 3 team in the country and the toast of the town. And I'm going, well, maybe that was not a very good pick, but I never really backed off. If you even listen to the podcast, I mean, you guys came away from watching the game in person saying this team's not that good. Yeah. And boy, as that played out, it's good when we're right, and all 3 of us were right there because, I mean, if Ole Miss loses this Saturday to Texas A&M, the rest of their season might be a complete train wreck.
Well, yeah, it's amazing because coming out of that Alabama game, people were talking about them as one of the best teams in the country, being in the playoff and all this stuff. And I sat there, I was just like, did you watch the same game that I just sat there and watched? Because Chad Kelly was making terrible decisions, throwing the ball up in the air off his back foot. The defense really didn't look that good. Alabama completely manhandled Ole Miss. They just turned the ball over 5 times.
Alabama beat themselves.
Yeah.
If ever there's a game where you could say a team beat themselves, that was it. All right, one more quick thing before we get into picks.
It might be 2, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, here's my one more quick thing. We call ourselves, we're an SEC podcast, but we got to talk about briefly the Michigan State game and what just bizarre. And you talk about cheese. Now, Clay, does that qualify for some cheese?
That was some Auburn cheese.
Oh, no, that is the definition of cheese there. That is ridiculous. Now, I'm so glad it finally does not involve a team that I care about. So thank God, because as a viewer, everyone likes to see that kind of cheese, including myself. But as long as it doesn't have any team that I'm involved with whatsoever. So that was fun. That was cool. And yeah, I assume you'd probably do it if I didn't, but I'll just go ahead and give myself props. I did message you when I noticed. I pressed the last button on my remote, and it went back to that game after I decided it was over with a minute to go. But it went back to the game, and then I was like, oh, well, it's 4th down. They're going to have to punt. So I texted you and said, oh, the Michigan State game's not over. And sure enough, Michigan State with the all-time cheese, possibly more cheese than the kick six. Not as much cheese if you combine the kick six and the prayer at Jordan-Hare. Auburn still has all-time cheese records, but still pretty insane.
The Michigan punter has looked better as a quarterback than any Auburn quarterback all season.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean,
he did complete that. It went right to a guy that didn't touch the ground.
Exactly.
He's an Australian rules football player and a very accomplished young man, and got a lot of abuse for that play. But like I told you guys, Michigan had the ball with 1:58 left in the game. Michigan State had 1 timeout. They ran the clock all the way down to 10 seconds, but the fact of the matter is their offense and their coaching staff is just as responsible as the punter for screwing up, because all they do is make a first down and the game's over. They put themselves in that position. But also to follow up what Clayton said, his brother and I were texting about the implications of Michigan's win over Michigan State, and Clay did the fateful words, "The game's not over yet," and not 10 seconds later, the cheese ensued. So it was kind of remarkable to me, and this is before your guys' time, but I know you've seen the footage of it. John Elway's last game at Stanford, he leads a tremendous drive. Stanford kicks what looks like the game-winning field goal. They kick the squib kick. California, Cal throws about 8 different laterals. The band's on the field. The guy runs over a trombone player going in the end zone. That was the all-time cheese until this game. Now it's about a tie, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and there was a game recently that almost had the lateral craziness. I can't remember what it was, but we were watching it, Alec, weren't we?
I saw one Saturday too, or Sunday. I don't know. I've seen a couple recently.
I don't know. There was one game, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where there was some lateral craziness, and they actually made it very far and almost pulled it out, which would have been amazing.
I can't remember what game that was. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But anyway, the thing I wanted to transition to go totally off topic, to get to the MACtion.
Why is Bowling Green not ranked?
No, I don't. No, I'm not going to complain about that. Actually, I just wanted to call out. There's no way he's listening, but the random frat dude that I interviewed, and I asked you if you're going to pick Bowling Green or Akron, and you chose Akron. Come on, man. Bowling Green, 59-10. Yeah, I watched this game from start to finish. It was amazing. Bowling Green, as usual, gave up tons of yards on defense, but you know what? They came up with stops in scoring when Akron was in scoring position, and Akron only scored 10 points. That is the least that anyone has scored all year on Bowling Green. Bowling Green, though, 59. That's awesome. Go Falcons. They play at Kent State this week. I know everyone's super excited for that game. I have a feeling the Falcons are going to defeat the Golden Flashes.
Well, it turns out Bowling Green beat Akron worse than Oklahoma beat them in Norman, so that gives you some indication that the Falcons are for real.
The Falcons are legit, man. They really are.
I think I've said this a couple of times. A rematch of Memphis and Bowling Green for the national championship, I'd watch.
Well, boy. All I know is I don't know. Actually, I was gonna say all I know. I don't know if it will be, but I hope that the Toledo, assuming they're both still undefeated, which they're both their schedules are an absolute joke until they play in a few weeks. Assuming Toledo and Bowling Green are still undefeated, ESPN should actually do this game up because Toledo is currently ranked, I believe, and Bowling Green it should be right on the fringe of being ranked. Bowling Green is probably the best 5-2 team. Probably not, but whatever. I like to say that. And they should do this game up for the Tuesday night kickoff or whatever because I will certainly be watching. It's going to be an awesome game, and Bowling Green better damn win.
Well, if both teams if both teams go unscathed up until that game, we may have to do the podcast live from Bowling Green Stadium.
Unfortunately, it's probably not possible because it's
I'm
in
sure
November.
I'll have like 8 tests.
I was about to say, I'm sure I'm going to have tests. That may be the day that my huge 25-page project is due. Look at me sounding like a college jabroni.
Man, I'm impressed.
It's one day of class a week.
So yeah, that's the only time I'm like, stupid Mac, why is it on Tuesday?
All right, well, if anybody wants to send us a private jet, we will cover this in grand style after Clayton's test. If you can zip Alec and Clayton and I up there, we will give the Falcons and Toledo all of the props that they deserve.
It's going to be huge. Bowling Green has Kent State, Ohio, and Western Michigan before that game. I hope they can get through that schedule.
And talking about broadcasting from location, we are actually still planning on Alabama LSU Saturday. We will be broadcasting from Tuscaloosa. Not sure if we're going to do it live or what we're going to do with it, but look forward to that. That should be fun.
Actually, Toledo has Northern Illinois, so they could drop a game. Hopefully not, though, but just throwing it out there.
Is Northern Illinois is not on Bowling Green's schedule, are they?
I think they may be the last game of the season.
Okay.
Oh, no, they are not. No, they're not on there. No, they're in the different side of the division. They don't play them this year.
Man.
So... yeah, it's gonna. Well, yeah. Here's another thing. Also, I'm not sure. I act like I'm a big Bowling Green MACtion fan. Let's be honest. I'm not. I don't follow it that closely. I don't know how it's working out, but I know that Bowling Green and Toledo are on different sides, so they could actually have a rematch for the MAC championship as well. So they could play 2 times in 4 weeks. So That'd be cool.
And you know where the Action Championship game is? In that exotic city of Detroit.
Yeah, how exciting.
Woo!
And then a bunch of times the winner gets to play in Detroit
In the Motor
again.
City Bowl again. It's like the South Park episode. It's like, we want to lose. We don't want to come back here.
Yeah, so
we want to use our whole holiday season.
That's great. What a great bowl game to get to go to.
The Motor City Bowl. I'd rather be shot.
You get to go from Bowling Green, Ohio, or Toledo, Ohio, and go over to Detroit, Michigan to go and play your
And
bowl
Detroit's
game.
totally broke. How good can that swag bag be?
Yeah, I don't know, but the stadium, at least it's an NFL stadium. The stadium,
Yeah.
Lucas Oil Field or whatever stadium, whatever it's called, it's actually pretty nice. So, I mean, at least
That's actually Ford Field.
Oh, is it? I
Yeah,
thought it was
Lucas Oil's in
Oh, that's
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot.
That's okay.
I just watched that Colts game recently, so
Yeah, that
I had
was-
in my head Ford Field. That's right.
Detroit kind of sucks though,
Ugh.
Well,
as a place.
it absolutely sucks.
So
And
that sucks.
And the Lions suck.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I mean,
And Michigan fans suck.
yeah.
Everybody just sucks, just like all the football teams.
Unfortunately-
Everything in this world just sucks.
I don't think we can say Michigan and Michigan State suck anymore. I mean, they kind of
No,
They're
Michigan's a
pretty
good
good.
football team. Michigan fans suck. Is
I
what
know
I'm saying.
that sucks. I liked the last couple of years being able to say that Michigan sucks.
I mean,
Hey, I got one thing to add.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Okay. Well, hey, and Michigan State when they played Alabama, that was a good game.
Well, and
I was at that game. So were you.
any of you jabroni Michigan fans that hid behind your keyboard and cowardly posted hate mail and death threats and suggestions of suicide to the Australian kid who dropped the ball, get a life. I mean, this kid's already a multiple degree holder. He put himself through college as a fashion model. The kid is awesome. He in a high pressure situation, mishandled a snap. But like I say, there are 100 plays in a football game that determine the outcome. So any loser that sent that along, this kid's 100 times bigger winner than any of you jackasses will ever be.
Well, Kip being the white knight here. But unfortunately, I think you're just feeding trolls at this point. I don't think there's anything that's going to stop all that from happening.
Yeah, it's really a shame. It's one of the, as great as technology is and the year we live in of instant communication and social media, that's really probably the worst part of it is that it allows just these cowardly, spineless pieces of garbage to hide behind their keyboard and lash out at somebody. I mean, that none of those guys would have anywhere near the stones to ever say that to this guy's face.
Oh, no way. But it's funny because you probably don't even know the half of it. I mean,
I'm sure I don't.
yeah, the internet's not a nice place at all. I mean, I love it, but yeah, it could be a little bit mean, I guess.
Yeah, well, like I say, a keyboard's quite a weapon, but it reveals character, and anybody who would send a nasty message to that kid who already feels like absolute dog shit. I'm sure he dropped the ball on purpose.
Well, I've sent a couple of nasty tweets to Cyrus Jones because he just sucks. He was talking shit after he had lost the game to Ole Miss. So
he sucks,
that's why I tweeted him.
Well, no, talking shit's fine. I think.
Talking shit's fine.
You didn't send a death threat.
Yeah, or suggest he commit suicide.
Oh yeah.
that's
I
true,
mean,
that's bad.
I remember. I might be outing Clate here, but after a Spain Park game, Clate sent an anonymous message to the Spain Park coach, questioning his strategy, and he immediately fired back. Who is this?
I remember that.
I didn't tell him to kill himself. but
No, you just questioned some strategy.
Yeah, because he sucked. This is
was that the punt on third down?
100% true story. Multiple times throughout the year, I think 3 times we punted on 3rd and long. I don't care if it's 3rd and 80. You don't punt on 3rd
Especially
down.
in high school when your quarterback can throw as far as you can punt the ball.
Oh,
Exactly.
And so then after a horribly called game, I sent an email asking him to please explain himself with an anonymous email, and his response was, "Who is this?" Which,
30 minutes after the game, he's responding to.
Yeah, of course I
critique.
didn't tell him who I was because I went to the same school, but God. And then the same guy got fired for punching a kid, so yeah, we know. Great human being altogether. I can't think of your name or else I would tell you.
Is it
that.
Shores?
we
Is it
would
David
completely
Shores?
out
I
him.
think it was Coach Shores.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, so go blank yourself,
Yeah.
David Shores.
He's probably selling insurance somewhere. Good luck, Dave.
Well, that's too high profile. I hope he's shoveling dog shit.
Could be. me. All right, we better move to picks. We were breezing right along, and we got into some really good subject matter there, but some fun stuff. So I think there's only 6 games this week, and we'll see how we do. But Clayton has resurrected our pick situation after we had some
it was
technical
my fault.
difficulties.
So yeah, I forgot to take down Alec and Kip's picks. Of course, we got them on the podcast, so we have them accounted for. But the way we do it, I go and make everybody's picks in Yahoo, and they only let me do one person at a time, obviously. So I put in mine. I forgot to put in theirs. So Yahoo thinks that I'm like way ahead now. It was actually a total like elaborate strategy.
Yeah, because they gave Alec and I losses on every game.
Yeah,
we didn't have anything entered.
But no, we did the math. We got it done. We got it set up before the podcast. We figured out who picked who, and we have it written down now on the wall. Going into week 8, the standings, we are all tied 38 and 26. So, it's like a new season now.
I've made up my 4-game deficit. I feel like I've climbed the mountain. I hope
guy
I'm not.
that's been picking Mizzou all year, and he's caught up to us now.
Well, you picked Mizzou last week. You have nowhere room to talk.
That was just a smart decision.
That was
what can I say?
Mizzou.
Yeah,
It's okay, buddy.
I'd be in the lead without that horrendous pick against Florida. That was terrible.
Well, and UConn with Mizzou or whatever. Right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well yeah,
we got to step our games up now. The
that
pressure's
wasn't
on.
too good either. Okay.
All right. Well, so there you go. The picks were all
So
tied.
who goes first now?
Nobody. Oh, that's not me.
I think Kip's made up the most ground. He goes first.
I'll go first. Okay.
I
won the week last week.
That's fair. Yeah, Kip
Yeah.
won the week. So that
Go Memphis.
The weird thing is though now, just to make sure, I'm gonna write everything down, but we're still gonna go through Yahoo, even though the scores are gonna be messed up. We're gonna try to keep track. So
And we're doing good. 38 and 26. If you listen to the show, you should be financially successful.
right. Yeah, bet every single game. Put a small amount of money on every game, and you'll win money.
All right. What do we got this week?
Well, if I could actually get into the stupid thing,
Okay.
I would tell you. Okay. First game up. An exciting one. Auburn at Arkansas. Arkansas is a 5.5 point favorite.
Sorry, Auburn fans. You gave up 440 yards to Kentucky, who is about as dynamic as this lamp that's in front of us here at the broadcast studio. I'm not impressed with your defense. I've said it before the season, before I even saw them play. I did like the fact that they tweaked a little bit and showed a little bit more offensive identity. It looked more like a Gus Malzahn attack, but I think Arkansas is a better team. They're playing at home, and they've got kind of a big chip on their shoulder. I like the Hogs. I will surrender the 5.5 points and take Arkansas.
So 5.5 the spread.
Yes.
I don't know. Neither of these teams is very good. Arkansas is 2-4. Auburn's 4-2. I think I'm just going to lead towards the fact that Arkansas is at home and they have a better team. I guess it's tough because the record doesn't show that Arkansas is the better team, but I think they've played the better games.
Do you know the way to San Jose? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, let's.
I don't.
Yeah, Auburn should be 3-3. Let's just throw that out there. The
Jacksonville State.
That was some cheese.
Jagaloon State.
I do think Auburn's getting somewhat better, but I just don't think they're good at all. But I think Arkansas is just too big and physical right now, and Auburn's one of those teams that spreads the field, and I just don't think it bodes well for them on the road. And I think Arkansas is going to win by about 7 or 10, maybe 6. I don't know.
All right.
Somewhere between 6 and 10 points, though.
So, Clay, if you take your beloved Tigers, you can pick up a game here.
Absolutely not. I'm going Arkansas.
There's the sweep sound.
That's what I like to hear.
All right, so we got them. We got them Hogs.
Alrighty, next up is the 2:30. Ugh, God. Tennessee at Alabama.
Whine a little bit more there, why don't you?
I gotta get up early, and then I gotta go to the stadium, and I get to sit there for an hour with nothing to do.
Rocky Top.
And then I get to hear that crap like 15 times, even
Well,
if
the
they're
good
losing
thing
by
is we
30.
hopefully won't be able to hear it from where we're at.
And then I have to go back and sit at your house for like 2 hours or whatever and watch some other crappy games after the Alabama game takes 4.5 hours to finish.
What a sunny attitude.
And then
I deal with it every weekend.
I finally get to go home and all is good, but there is a long period where I am pretty miserable.
He has to watch football, eat food, and have a drink.
If Dr. Evil is lured out of his lair, everything is just a disaster.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, during the game is usually okay, unless Alabama is playing like poop, like they did against Arkansas. So as long as Alabama blows them out, then I'll be happy.
You know,
Then
Alec, all this would be solved if they
then.
would just give him some barbecue nachos when he walked in the gate.
Here's
This
a
is
free
really was
barbecue nacho.
His whole dissatisfaction with college football comes down to the fact that he can't get his barbecue nachos anymore because they're too damn popular.
That's
And
it.
the lines are too
lines
long.
are-
That's what I
worst
mean.
part.
There's too many. It's not a secret anymore.
Yeah, so even that, I don't think it's ever been a secret, but even I used to just deal with it. But
They should just have one sitting on each seat when we walk in the stadium.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
his whole attitude would be different.
well, it would be a little different. That's for
Oh
sure.
man, I
but-
can't wait to get in Bryant Denny and eat those barbecue nachos Saturday night.
And if they'd give him one before the game and at halftime, he would be the biggest college football fan of all time.
no, then he wouldn't cheer because he'd be like, "Oh,
That's
I
right.
feel
He'd
terrible."
be in the bathroom.
Sometimes that might be preferred.
Oh, okay.
God.
All right. So,
I'm just kidding, but not really.
all right. So who's Alec picking here?
Well,
Oh, Alabama's a 15.5 point
15 and a
favorite.
half.
Woo!
That's what
They're that
RCS
many.
too.
More than 2 touchdowns.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot. I mean, Tennessee doesn't suck.
We love giving Kip a hard time, folks. I don't know though. Tennessee. What does Tennessee do? What do you think they do? What is their identity on offense?
Let's see. They
An alien.
give it to Hurd, or Dobbs tries to run,
Exactly.
or they throw a short pass.
They're 19th in rushing defense, 80th in passing, or 19th in rushing offense, 80th in passing.
Like I said,
offense.
really a good team.
So they're obviously gonna come out and try to run the ball with either Hurd or Dobbs and maybe even Kamara, but that doesn't bode well when Alabama is 3rd in rushing defense. And then even if they have to pass the ball, Alabama's jumped into the top 10 in defense in almost every stat this year.
Their secondary is coming along.
Yeah, they have. I think they're.
Even though Cyrus Jones is still on the field.
Well, he sucks.
Yeah, he's the worst part of the whole team. But the fact that Alabama's finally getting interceptions, I think they're in the top 10 in interceptions now in the country, and in sacks. They're tied for 4th most sacks in the country after the 6 they got Saturday. That's huge. Their whole defense is just playing great, and just all you have to do against Tennessee is just like A&M. I think Tennessee might be 10 spots higher than A&M in rush defense, but that's still not good. They're like 70th. Just run the ball, control the clock, exhaust Tennessee's defense, keep their offense off the field, and then you don't have to worry about them scoring, so it doesn't matter. But that's all you got to do. The defense is playing so good right now. Who cares if you go 3 and out because you run the ball 3 straight times? That's going to open up the pass at some point in the game. So just keep doing it. Turn the clock, run the ball, and Alabama's going to win this game just like they did Saturday against Texas A&M by more than 15.5.
All right. Alec surrendering the points. Mr. Kiefer.
I mean, I don't know.
We know where you're going. With it. Just come on.
Alabama stinks at home.
Which is the only thing that concerns me.
Yeah, they. I mean, this is just stupid. This is the stupid stat of the week that Alabama. I don't have a stat, but Alabama sucks at home. I know that actually means nothing because I'm just basing it on the couple games.
I can already tell. I think I can already tell where Kip's going with it.
And Barrett Jones from a couple years ago actually admitting that Alabama or that team preferred to play on the road, but it's still Nick Saban, so maybe he still has some different strategies for getting them pumped up on the road. But obviously, the Alabama hoser here. I'm gonna pick Alabama, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way I can do that now.
Shocker.
I mean, first of all, you guys know how much I like points.
Yep.
And I'm gonna take Tennessee for a late cheese cover. I say Alabama beats them about I don't know. I was gonna say 31-14, but that wouldn't be any good. So I'm gonna downgrade Alabama's points to 27-14. Give me the Vols and the 15.5.
I just don't think that Tennessee's going to be able to score that much. I think they might score 10 points, and that'll be it. I think Alabama's defense is just so good. Just way too good.
Yeah, maybe some special teams cheese, but although Alabama special teams have been really good here lately too, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Nice.
J.K. Scott has come back to life.
He's looked a little better.
Adam Griffith still's garbage.
Yeah, well, he sucks. I'm sorry. I usually don't like to diminish a young person.
He's
but
gotten a lot of hate mail, too.
I'm not directing any hate his way. He's just a lousy kicker.
No. It's not his fault. It's Nick
Saban's fault.
Nick Saban
He's been over this.
Sucks at kicking field goals. He's awful. He needs to stop trying to kick
As
field
Nick
goals.
Saban would say, don't blame Griffith, blame Nick Saban.
Yes.
Well,
Nick Saban is a garbage coach, and he needs to stop kicking field goals.
Fire him now,
And
Paul.
if Nick
Sucks.
Saban would take a page out of Mark Richt's book, Marshall Morgan misses a 25-yarder to put Georgia ahead halfway through the fourth quarter. And before he goes out to try to kick the winning 38-yarder from way downtown, Mark Richt says, and it's a public video now on YouTube, Mark Richt looks at him and says, I will love you no matter what happens here. Barf.
That's why Mark
So
Richt
if
won
Nick-
so many championships.
Yeah, if Nick Saban would just be kindler, if Nick Saban would just be kindler and gentler, Adam Griffith might be awesome.
That's one of the that I didn't even know about that. I could have gone.
Oh, look it up. It is so
I could have
bad.
gone the rest of my life without ever hearing that. That's just ridiculous.
I'll still love you no matter what happens.
Oh my god, that's so bad. And wait, is that like with a
That sounds
mic?
like Alex Love Life.
Do
Do
what?
they have that like on a mic? Like they have it picked up or something? How do they...
You could barely hear him, but it's obvious. It's clear that's what he says.
Oh my goodness, good god, that's awful. Anyway, I don't even. What are we even talking about? Who knows? Where are we going?
Next game,
Next
please.
game. I got
I didn't know if there was a
Tennessee.
conversation here that we just got off the rails or not. I don't know.
You guys talked about Adam Griffith. I had to relate that Mark Richt story.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry. I'm just
So I got Tennessee. You guys got Alabama.
yeah. What a jabroni. Next game. Oh boy, talk about excitement here. Missouri going up against
no.
Vanderbilt.
Oh,
What's the line on this
I'm not
game?
picking this game.
Missouri is a 3-point favorite. Alec is just going to concede the loss here.
So you're first.
Oh boy. Let's go Vanderbilt.
I mean,
Go Doors. After seeing that offense from Missouri, I think Vanderbilt's defense is probably comparable to Georgia's in terms of performance so far this year. Drew Lock, I mean, maybe he's the second. Of course, they thought Matty Mock was going to be the greatest thing ever. I guess he's suspended from now on. He was supposed to suspend one game or is indefinite, and it's
Smoke weed every day.
something's going on there. But Missouri's offense is just garbage. So give me the Doors.
yeah, give me Vandy 3-2 in this game.
Wow, so a clean sweep. It's the
Wait,
second
no,
week in a
three-
row we've had
no.
a clean sweep for the
Oh, yeah,
Commodores.
that's right, that's
Yeah,
right.
Missouri's a 3-point favorite.
That's right.
Give me Vandy 3-2. Nobody's
Okay.
scoring a touchdown in this game.
Missouri, they're going to get a safety?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to take Missouri?
No,
Missouri's the
Vandy,
favorite.
Vandy 3-2.
Okay,
Yeah.
clean sweep.
Oh, poop. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
All right, yeah. Now I've got to write this down because I've got to do it this Jagaloon way to make sure I keep track
That's
of all
right.
the games. Okay, anyway, next
Plus, we're
game.
going to Longhorn Eats. We need to hurry up and wrap this
I'm
up.
so hungry.
Oh, no, this is good because I'm not hungry. So,
Alec and I are starving.
so let's roll
I think
it out
he's
of
the
order.
odd man out now.
You can have an appetizer.
The next game is Western Kentucky at LSU, a real test.
Oh boy!
LSU is a 16.5-point favorite.
And look at that line. I mean, that's pretty slender, considering that Western Kentucky may be as bad defensively as anybody you'll see.
But they can score
They do
points.
score points, and that's the other thing that gives validity to what I said about Vanderbilt's defense. They only had 12 against them in the season opener, but they've been scoring at an alarming rate since then. But only 16.5. Gosh, that's just not that many points, and it's not very much respect for LSU. I hate to give points. I hate it, but I got to take LSU here because I just don't think these schools aren't even in the same class.
I'm going to tell you why you're wrong, Kip.
Okay, do.
First off, what did you say earlier in the podcast about LSU secondary?
They're bad.
Okay. Western Kentucky has the third best passing offense in the country, and Brandon Doherty is second in passing yards only to Bowling Green's Matt Johnson. So the Western Kentucky passing offense, very good. LSU secondary, very suspect.
Yep.
Give me Western Kentucky.
The standard Alec argument, the slow talking, the opening with a question. Now, Kip, what did you say?
A proven technique.
The Alec standard, it's like the Lee Corso, not so
fast, my friend.
That's right.
Alec goes the exact opposite. He doesn't just tell you you're wrong. He's got to ask you and make sure.
You got to make sure to point it out.
So officially, you're taking the Hilltoppers and the points.
Yes.
Okay. I respect the pick. I know they can score, and boy, I hate giving points when a team can score. But I'm sticking with LSU.
Well, this game, I just went and looked it up and looked at some stuff real fast like I normally do. I think I'm with Alec on this. I think it's actually going to be a pretty close game. I don't think LSU is going to be super. I mean, of course, this is the thing coaches hate. I don't know if they're going to be super prepared for this game. So I think that if LSU loses, that's going to be just insane. But I'm taking Western Kentucky.
Two other things. Week before they face Alabama. No, I guess they have a bye week, but it's still the game before they face Alabama, and they struggle with Syracuse. So that's two things right there that I think another reason to go with Western Kentucky.
They are at home though, and it's at night.
So. It's at night?
Yeah.
That sucks.
So I don't know if Western Kentucky's going to be really prepared for that, but
that's okay. They'll have fun with it.
Yeah.
He's going to throw for like 500 yards.
The Hilltoppers.
So, yeah. Alrighty, well, next...
I mean, hey, they did make LSU made Trayon Harris look good at night in
which
Death
is
Valley.
hard to do.
So, you know.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe Trayon Harris is like the next John Elway, and we
but
don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Next game
is Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 6-point favorite.
Alec, you get to go first.
Oh, no.
Such an easy game.
What was the spread again? You say
Ole
7?
Miss is a 6-point favorite.
That's
6.
hard to believe the line's that heavy.
Oh, man.
Especially as horrible as they've been.
If Ole Miss had a running game, I might be a little bit worried because Texas A&M's run defense is just
bad.
It's so bad. But Ole Miss can't run the ball. They've looked terrible. I still think they're terrible. It's going to be a high-scoring game, I think, somehow. I think both teams, it's typical spread offense for both sides. I think they're both going to score a good amount of points, but I don't see either team running away with it. I think I'm going to go with Texas A&M. I think they have a chance to win and keep it, so I definitely think they can keep it under 6.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Now, here I go again. This is probably going to be just totally wrong. It'll probably end up being like 6-3. I think there's going to be points scored in this game, quite a few of them. Ole Miss's offense may actually click back into place, and they may be able to score, but I think I like Texas A&M in this game. I think I like them to win it outright. Like I was saying earlier, maybe Ole Miss just really, I think they really do suck now. I just think, I mean, Memphis is good, I guess, but I have no confidence in Ole Miss whatsoever, and so that makes it I can't pick them. I just can't do it.
And Kyle Allen's game, don't be confused by the fluke game last week with interceptions. I still think that he is one of the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the SEC, so he's going to have a much better week, especially with what we saw from Memphis and their quarterback passing all over him last Saturday. So I think Kyle Allen's a big reason why Texas A&M stays in this game and should end up winning.
Well, you guys know how much I relish the opportunity to pick the team that you guys don't go with, but I feel strongly on this game. I really think that the difference in this game is going to be Ole Miss's continuing inability to run the football, and Myles Garrett is an absolute beast when he just turned loose to rush the passer, and that's all Ole Miss can do. I think Chad Kelly's going to get broken in half in this game. I think Myles Garrett is all over him. I think Ole Miss is really on a decline. Preseason, I picked Texas A&M to win this game. I just thought they matched up better, and I can't deviate now, particularly getting 6 points. I'm shocked that, I mean, there were a couple lines this week that really surprised me, glancing at the lines, and this line, it was a big surprise. I thought this game would be almost a pick'em or maybe a point or two for Ole Miss. 6 points, I got to take the Aggies, so grudgingly we make it a clean sweep.
I actually had you written down for Ole Miss because I just thought for sure that you were just going to go against what we did.
Every instinct I want to, but I feel strongly about this game, maybe more than any other game in the country. I just think that line is way off, and I can't believe that Ole Miss still has this kind of allegiance, as dreadful as they've looked the last couple of games.
Yeah, I don't know, but whatever. All right, final game of the week. I always get to go first on the exciting ones, don't I?
Yes.
We got Kentucky at Mississippi State.
Ooh.
Mississippi State is an 11-point favorite. Holy balls.
This is
I'm
a
going
tough one.
with Kentucky.
Clay just,
Clay you just threw everything out the window I had to say now.
Yeah,
Damn it.
Clay's a closet Wildcat fan.
I hate Kentucky.
He loves them.
He absolutely
Kentucky.
loves them.
I hate Kentucky so much.
CATS, cats.
I hate them.
The Big Blue. He's really a Calipari hoser.
I'm just picking them so they'll
Have
lose.
you won a Kentucky game all year when you
No,
picked them?
I haven't.
He hadn't won a Kentucky game in 2
Oh,
years.
yes, I did. I won. Like, the reason I became
So high on them.
Look,
It's
for all
'cause,
these,
yeah.
all the podcast fans and historians, I'm sure there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Go back and listen. The reason I became a Kentucky fan is 'cause I think it was 2 weeks in a row. You jabronis, I was doing
They
terrible.
made you look good.
But yeah, you two jabronis picked against them, and I picked them, and they were right. That was like the one game that I got right on you guys, like 2 weeks in a row, maybe even 3 weeks in a row. Or maybe 3 out of 4. I don't know what it was, but that's why I became a Kentucky hoser. And now they have been just awful. So here's to them hoping they get blown out 70-10. So I lose and they lose, whatever. I hate Kentucky.
Well,
It's
Kentucky.
tougher on us now, Kip.
Kentucky has Patty Ice, so what a huge factor that is.
right.
Patty Ice, give me a break. Kentucky is still yeah, thank you. Kentucky is still Kentucky. That was for Clate's mom, Kathy, who loves his sound effects, and that's one of her favorites. Kentucky is still Kentucky. Mississippi State is riding they've been in Stark Vegas for like 6 months, it seems like. Did they ever go on the road ever? Doesn't seem like it. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott and the Bulldogs to rack up another win. I just think Kentucky is pretty much done, and this is the time of year where their depth usually reveals itself to be as thin as ice on a 80-degree day. So I'm going with Mississippi State and giving the points.
This game was going to be easy for me to pick. I was all set on picking Kentucky, and then this Jagaloon over here had to go and pick them and screw everything up. Kentucky hasn't lost by more than 5 points in their 2 losses this year. And that includes a Florida team that's pretty good, so you would think that they would keep this game close because Mississippi State nor Kentucky's offense is really that great. So I want to say Kentucky, but after Clate picked them, I'm going Mississippi State.
Go the other way.
I know exactly what to do now.
You just screwed everything up because now Kentucky's definitely going to win. And then I'm going to have to
Then you have to pick them all the time.
Yeah, then I'm going to have to like them again.
I just can't. Last 3 or 4 times me and you or you have picked Kentucky, it doesn't go mine and Kip's away if we pick with you. So I can't do it again. I learned that twice this year.
Yeah, that's very smart of you because Kentucky blows.
Yeah, I was unfortunate enough to watch most of the second half of the Eastern Kentucky game 2 weeks ago where they cheesed a win just like Auburn did against Jacksonville State, coached by former Spain Park coach John Gross, our second mention of a Spain Park coach today.
Oh, yeah, he's good. He needs all the credit in the world. I wish that he would have won that Auburn game because then he would have probably gotten some job offers.
Absolutely.
He is a damn good coach, but his, I think, defensive coordinator, God, I forgot his name. That's how much I don't like this guy. I can't remember his damn name, but whoever that guy is, his defensive coordinator who Spain Park hired, he sucks.
Well, and the last week, Kentucky with a sellout crowd, a national audience, everything on the line. They had their chance to really make a statement, and they came out and played like dog manure in the first quarter, let Auburn get a big lead. Kentucky came back and dominated the rest of the game, but couldn't overcome the deficit. So I'm really down on the Cats, and that's why I picked against them.
Alrighty then.
Don't worry, guys. I just saw this on my Twitter feed, but Clate's going to be very happy come next week's podcast. We are 6 days away from basketball season.
That's right.
Avery Johnson, today you sent me that he's taking Shannon Hale and Jimmy Taylor to SEC Media Day. Has taken his big boys or something. Hashtag buckle up.
Biggies. That's what he said. He called them biggies.
Oh, yeah,
His
biggies and then hashtag buckle up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've asked you guys this 100 times, but I wonder about Alabama's schedule this year. Do they play any really high-profile games? Or
they play all the same teams that we've been mad that they've been scheduling. Yep. They play stupid Dayton again that they're definitely going to lose to.
Wichita State, I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, well, they're in a tournament with Wichita State to where they might play. I think.
They actually,
or are they guaranteed to play?
Yeah, no, I think it's a tournament. There's another big team in that tournament too. I can't remember which one. See if you can find that out.
I'll get it real fast.
They also play Oregon in the lovely BJCC this year.
Oh, Oregon! Wow.
Yeah, so that place is the crap hole.
Oh, well,
but
this
is
exciting. This is very, very exciting. Their first game, the exhibition game, is against Trevecca Nazarene.
Oh yeah, I told you about that.
Trevecca Nazarene. I've never heard of this place. They look like they're the Spartans. Interesting.
I'm assuming it's a foreign team.
Oh, I guess maybe. So, but do they
Might
do
be-
that?
It sounds like a touring Israeli team. Maybe.
Yeah, that'd
Oh,
be
well,
my
that's
guess.
awesome then. Oh, that makes it way happier. I thought maybe it was.
Tide, and I'm pretty sure Tide tip off a week from today.
Oh, that is so exciting. It's
No flex zone.
11:06, November 6th is when that game is, that exhibition game. I can't wait to be there. But yeah, we play at Dayton, our second game of the season. I'm so tired of playing Dayton because they're actually extremely good.
They went to the Sweet 16 last year.
And I've been saying that they're good for 4 years now because we play them every year. It seems like. Then we play in the tournament we play Xavier, and then if we beat them, which we won't, but no, maybe we play all these games. I don't know how this works, but in this tournament there's Xavier, Wichita State, and USC, so that's just great. But also Southern Miss, Clemson, and Winthrop. The tournaments confuse me. I'm not looking at an actual bracket. I'm just looking at like the teams that might be on the schedule. Then yeah, we have Oregon at home, at home at the BJCC. So those are pretty high profile games, I think. For Alabama, yeah. And then we got Georgia.
See, he's already. Just look at the
Georgia
mood he's
and
in
Auburn
now.
and Florida.
Georgia's the SEC opener?
No. Ole Miss is at Ole Miss, which supposedly they have a kid. I don't even know who it is, but I just heard this in passing somewhere there on the radio that they have a kid that's going to have the biggest green light in the country, kind of like Marshall Henderson, the other.
Just jack it up.
year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fire it up.
See how
that's just
cheery.
great.
See how cheery he gets after just
Basketball's-
like 5 minutes of basketball.
Basketball's such a
talk.
better sport. It just is. I'm sorry, all you football fans out there. It's just football's like decent tier. Basketball's god tier.
Particularly Alabama basketball.
I love all basketball. I don't care whose basketball it is. I love it. Actually, I do care because I hate like K-State basketball. And Auburn and Kentucky. And
Yeah, K-State had a good performance this past week in football. They almost upset TCU 2 weeks ago, and then lose at home 59-0 the very next week to Oklahoma.
that's pretty good.
Pretty bizarre.
Yeah, but so I don't know. I love the NBA for sure. I just love basketball. It's too good.
All right. Well, next week on the podcast, Clayt will spend an hour talking about his love of hoops. But we're out of time this week. You guys got any final thoughts?
I even know way more about basketball, I feel like, than football. I could talk for an hour about basketball.
Absolutely.
I think that
we didn't even touch on the Heat. The Heat are going to be awesome this year.
I seriously think that if we don't do, I want to try to get us to do a radio show at Alabama for the basketball season because nobody else is going to want to do that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And
Well,
if
no,
not-
they probably will, because this is I'm going to throw this out there. My opinion on basketball might quickly change because I know, I know I've been wishing for this, and I guess be careful what you wish for. I just know this year that it's going to make me mad that all these jabronis are going to be loving Alabama basketball, and it's like,
But how many people are going to want to go in and just do an hour or 2 hour show on nothing?
That's
but
true.
basketball?
But
Maybe
you guys have been such Alabama basketball fans and been so loyal to the
We've
program.
been- Well,
that's what-
you guys owe it to the university to do a
That's what
basketball
I like.
show.
I would give a pitch like saying that we want to bring some excitement with the new coach coming in. We want to bring some excitement towards the program, and
I
have
think
a
it's a
show every
natural.
week.
If you guys don't do that, I'm going to be very
no,
disappointed.
I would love to do it. Don't get me wrong. I was just going to say that I'm going to be a little bit like old man, get off my lawn type of thing when there's going to be like 1 million students at the game and they're going to be all excited for basketball. It's like, yeah, you guys wouldn't be here if it weren't for
But you guys have said
but I want that, but at the same time, like, it's going to make me mad. I don't know. I'm a weird person.
Avery has already
Oh,
though
yeah,
changed the seating policy and just put the
Yes.
student section where
it's
it belongs.
crazy how
and-
much excitement he's bringing already.
Well, see, that's fantastic. So-
Avery Johnson has done an amazing job. I think I even said this on the podcast before, but like, without even playing a game, I don't care how bad Alabama is this year. Now, if it continued and they were really bad, like a few years, then I'd be mad. But this year, Alabama can be terrible. I still think Avery Johnson's done an unbelievable job, and
he's
everything I wanted in a coach.
He's more Bruce Pearl like, because what's his name? Anthony Grant was just there to get a paycheck and coach the team. Whereas Bruce Pearl was going around campus, bringing pizza to classes. I haven't seen Avery Johnson coming into classes and doing stuff like that, but he does walk around campus and he meets with students and he holds all kind of events and set up the Tide tip-off, which is like our Midnight Madness thing starting next week. So that's he's bringing just so much excitement, and he's changed the student section. So as students and fans, we're excited to see.
Well, you guys have been in Tuscaloosa for a decade. It's time to give back. You guys really need to do a show and really pump up the campus for Alabama basketball.
Well, and if we can get a basketball show, maybe we can get and I'll be like a total fangirl, but maybe we could get Trevor Relaford on the show, and that'd be like the greatest day of my life.
There you go. Maybe
I'd tweet at T. Riley.
Probably my favorite basketball player of all time.
Trevor Relaford. There you go, Trevor. It's out there. You've got another opportunity to branch into a different career. All right. Well, we've covered it all. We've gotten the MAC in. We've talked about basketball and Avery Johnson, and we even threw some football in. Hope everybody has a fantastic football weekend coming up. Good luck for your teams in their various games. We will be joining you again a week from now with more on the Kip Perspective podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and have a fantastic rest of your week. 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 Rest of your week.